Good evening, all. My name is Tim King, and welcome to the presentation on environmental justice, a social work perspective. I'm here to share with you some information regarding this critical intersection of environment and community well-being. As you notice by the image, this is a group of diverse people that in nature symbolizes the unity and the connection that we all share with our environment. Environmental justice is a vital issue of social work. It bridges ecological health with the needs of communities. Again, my name is Tim, and I'm here to bring more of an insight into social work with a passion for addressing these environmental inequities. Having worked many years with the unhoused populations, it is easy to see how environmental justice needs to be fine-tuned to address the impact on diverse populations. The goal is to uncover how social work can tackle systemic and environmental challenges. They reflect our environmental focus, and they can set the tone overall for our discussion, but also our perspective moving forward. So let's start by looking at the real-world impact of environmental injustices. Take, for instance, the West Harlem wastewater plant. It was located right next to many residential areas. The proximity of it highlighted an urgency and a need for action. Communities, especially those of color and low-income groups, were more disproportionately affected by the pollution, leading to significant health disparities. Research from Chen and colleagues in 2024, along with Pellos in 2016, underscore how these inequities persist. As social workers, we are called to address these imbalances, ensuring every community has a fair shot at healthy environment. This slide sets the stage of why environmental justice is a priority that we can no longer ignore. So, what exactly is environmental justice? It is about addressing the inequitable distribution of environmental hazards. Many communities of color and low-income populations often face the brunt of populations and pollution, resulting in severe health impacts like asthma, cancer, or other medical and long-term disability issues directly related to environmental injustices. This presentation also will address these disparities, drawing on some of the insights from Jarvis in 2013 and Lynch in 2015. Our focus is on integrating social work practices to advocate for change and promote inequitable access or more equitable access and reduce the inequitable distribution of wealth and also environmental supports so that others may access healthy environmental supports. This is not just an environmental issue. It is very much a social justice issue. And social work has a key role in transforming these issues and this inequality. So let's take a moment to synthesize some of the key findings. According to Mason and colleagues in 2024, 74.7% of social workers encounter poor food access in their practice, yet only 43.2% address it. And that is a large gap that we need to close. Noting the bar graph addresses those issues. So how can we ignore those issues if we are there to make change? Again, this gap needs to be closed. Now, this data, paired with the Black Lives Matter protest photo, connects environmental justice to racial justice movements, as Pello highlighted in 2016. Now, Lynch and Stretsky's work from 1998 and 2015 show how hazardous waste facilities and corporate environmental violence has hit minority communities the hardest. Damanelli in 2013 urges us to weave environmental justice into our social work practice through comprehensive strategies. As social workers, we must bridge research and action, tackling food access, pollution, systemic inequalities through training and advocacy. These sources can guide our path towards strength, education, and a desire to improve overall quality of life for all. So, how do we define environmental justice? Environmental justice is a lens on environmental issues through social inequality, ensuring everyone, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, has access to clean air, water, and land. The official definition that was adopted is the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all in the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws. So consider pollution hotspots. Certain communities, especially those that have more historical intergenerational poverty, they're more disproportionately impacted by air and water pollution, leading to higher disease rates overall. Lynch and Swiatkowski's 1998 research backs this up. This scope frames our work as social workers to fight for equity across all environments. Now, some of the key concepts in environmental justice, they rest on first, equity. That's ensuring fair distribution of environmental benefits and supports like clean air and water. As Dominelli noted in 2013, second, participation. Community involvement in decision-making is vital and allows those affected to have a voice and to voice their concerns and shape policies, a point emphasized by Clemmer and McNamara in 2020. Now, third, access, making sure that all communities have resources like parks, clean energy. This is vital for health and sustainability. Mason and others in 2024 noted that these principles guide our efforts to create just and sustainable communities. And this aligns perfectly with our social work code of ethics and values. So how do we make change happen? I mean, there are two approaches stand out: community action and policy advocacy. Community action is that grassroots. They're beating the bushes, making things happen. Policy advocacy targets government decisions and laws, pushing for systemic change to promote environmental justice. But that grassroots mobilization focuses on local engagement, local government, the here and now, where you are, and being able to make that difference. Empowering communities to tackle issues directly, both are powerful. Community action builds resilience from the ground up, while policy advocacy ensures lasting structural shifts and changes. So as social workers, we can blend these strategies, organizing local efforts while lobbying for laws that protect vulnerable populations. It is about meeting people where they are and scaling up to make an impact. So what are some solid solutions? Legislative change through policy advocacy, that can influence government decisions to prioritize environmental justice. And again, the grassroots mobilization empowers communities, and it starts at the ground level to take direct action. So picture this: advocating for laws that limit industrial pollution near homes, while also supporting community-led initiatives like cleanup drives. So these dual approaches ensure that we address both systemic roots and local needs. So as social workers, we can lead these efforts, connecting communities with resources and amplifying their voices. It is a practical path to creating healthier, more equitable environments. So breaking it down, environmental justice has three dimensions. First, environmental quality, ensuring the ecosystems are healthy within clean air and water and land, free from pollutants that hit marginalized communities the hardest. As noted in 2021, second, health disparities, The health disparities are where vulnerable populations face higher risks of chronic illness due to pollution and resource access, per Chin and others in 2024. And third, economic impact. Low-income communities bear disproportionate financial burdens, and that limits the sustainable growth, as Lynch and Strateski noted in 1999. So understanding these dimensions helps us target interventions where they're needed the most. So finally, let's kind of tie this to a framework that guides our work. This fits well with the ecological systems theory from Bronfenbrenner, 1979. It views individuals within the interconnected systems, the microsystems, the family, the meso, the community, exo, policy, macro, culture, and chrono over the time. Now, this supports systemic interventions at the micro level. We empower families with education. At the meso level, we foster community gardens. At the exo level, we can advocate for senior services. And the macro level, we can challenge ageism and racism that might and impact environmental justice. Implementation means assessing system interactions, building partnerships, and using reflective practice to adapt. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, justice delayed is justice denied. So we must act now because we must be prepared to take action to make a difference. As social workers, we are change makers. So we have a code of ethics and we have our responsibility to ensure improved environmental justice for all. Thank you.